2000, that's when I made the Hollyball as a work of art. And it's a football plastered with the pictures of the Bible. You can see it here. It's a Hollyball. It's kind of perhaps made what was the first conceptual art exhibition in Malawi. And I had these about 24 Hollyball's in a room for students and staff to kick. I think there was a time when I was getting my fiancé visa, and the council asked me, are you marrying Susan? That's my wife now. Are you marrying Susan to get a British passport? And at that moment, I thought, God, if I had this book, you know, I could have just given it to him, like, you know, over it. I didn't think of writing a book until I was like in the middle of my master's, my MA, so let me say, and I was developing these ideas. These ideas were suddenly coming together. What I call Hollyballsim, my way of looking at the world. Which were, like, I realized that the more I developed as a conceptual artist, the more I was being inspired, not by so much my time studying art in university or secondary school. I was being inspired more by by my dad, what I learned from my dad between the age of 5 and 12. You see, my dad used to give these philosophy lectures when he was drunk. He used to wake us up. That's why it's called the Jive Talker. The Jive Talker is really my dad, because when I was growing up, he used to get drunk and he would wake us up in the night and start giving us philosophy lectures on Nietzsche, Freud, and he would just really go on until late in the night, keeping us awake. And I thought it was a nuisance. Actually, for me, doing art was a rebellion against this kind of too much thinking. I thought I wanted to do something more visceral. I grew up in Malawi. My father was a clinic officer, and he was progressive. He was for all things modern, and so there were lots of books in our house. Art, religion, philosophy, and those are the things I grew up with, and that's a reality I've known ever since. You know, as a child, I was literally born next to a bookshelf. So, and my dad moved up and down the country a lot. So, the life I grew up is that of nomadism. For me, being on the move is much more natural to me than staying in one place because of my upbringing. Yeah. We moved every 2-3 years. We were always a new people in an environment. And people ask me, is there a cultural shock or something when you came over? I was like, no, for me coming to Britain, just another step. And what's Hollyballsim? It's an expressionist philosophy of life. It employs what I would describe as joyous expressionism. And it's about shining. It's about shine, you know. It's about going out and finding meaning in being here, in living life, and in the here and now, as opposed to the hereafter. But it's also beyond that. It's interested in kind of how meaning and value are created in contemporary society, secular society. When people no longer go to church, like I used to go to church as a child, I no longer do that. I was interested in finding out, how did I construct meaning for myself and value now that I no longer believed in God, for instance. Yeah. Or art, when you no longer believe in God or art. Yeah, I've come up strong, I think, after the book. My ideas certainly just fell together, and I'm much more confident now. If somebody asked me to do a project, I know exactly what I'm looking for. Unlike before, it was just nebulous, you know. But now I think it's sort of clear, you know. I know what I'm looking for when I'm doing research.
And I suppose you know what you are as an artist.
That's right.
You know what you stand for, you know what you can bring to a project, you know.
That's right.
What your point of view is.
Those things are clear now after the book. And that's everything for an artist. I think every artist do know that. Because there's like a plethora of things out there and you're like, where do I start? Because there's so many choices.
Yeah.
Where do I start? And I think it's easier for me now to make choices. It was great. I think the only thing I liked about Trent was the energy. And during my year, we had a diverse kind of students. We had from Malawi, Japan, and Korea.
So it's always like an international bunch and mix of people.
Finland, stuff like that. It was really...
Was Miria in your year?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we'd get together and then we had these discussions. I learned a lot from that. For me, art was a necessity because, you know, you're kind of a nomad. For me, I have to always create from scratch. Perhaps that's why I'm interested in the creation of meaning and values, because I have to create meaning and value every time I move. And that's why I had to spend time developing. That's why I'm saying that I was more interested not in just making lots of work. I was interested in developing a philosophy that I could accommodate my lifestyle.
And you could take with you.
That's right. Anywhere. And you know, I'd feel comfortable. Something constant in me. That things around me might change, but there's a constant in it. And perhaps Hollyballsim, for me, my approach to art is why I'm interested in how meaning and value is created, whether it's in art or in community. Is that because I have no grand narratives or ready-made icons or hanging on the wall ready to define life for me. No, for me, they're always all the time a blank canvases, which I have to start from scratch. And the question is, how do I bring any meaning to my constant changing environment?